Shalom, family. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm glad you're all here. We're going to have a discussion about the word black. Now, I did a survey, and on that survey, I'm going to show you the results, and we're going to talk about the results. I deliberately left off Hebrew, Israelite. I'm going to do another survey, and you're going to have a choice between choosing black or Hebrew Israelite. Okay, those are going to be your choices, and we'll see how that one comes out. So it was interesting, and I would like to talk to our people. And I think there's a perception about using the word black. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are not in control of this world. Okay, we got people in charge of this world. They don't like us. They use a lot of bywords on us. And as long as we're still in this captivity, the word black is not going anywhere. Just understand, once they're no longer in power, all of these bywords and issues that we're dealing with now will go away. So I don't think anybody should have the expectation of this changing while we're still in the Gentile world. And I think some of y'all, and I don't think you mean anything wrong by it, but y'all go overboard in being offended by something we clearly knew was going to happen. The Bible said we would be referred to by bywords. So why would you think in this day and time and moment that we're in that the bywords are going to go away? We're still in the Gentile world. I think the problem is we need to learn how to agree to disagree and not take it to the level where you just going on a rampage about this. It's no point in you doing that while we're still in the Gentile world. And I'm just speaking from my perspective. You may see it different. Number two, if you have such an issue with the word black, how do you feel about Bible scriptures that use the word black? Do you dismiss those Bible um scriptures that got black in it? How do you handle that, being that you don't like the word black? How do you handle it? How do you think they came around to calling us black? They saw it in the Bible. These people aren't original in anything. So, that's the question I would like to pose to folks that don't like the word black or being referred to as black, as if cops out here are going to give a shit about that, because they won't. So, how do you feel when you see scriptures with the word black? Do you dismiss those scriptures? Do you take offense to the scriptures? Do you say it shouldn't say that, it should say Hebrew? How do you handle that? I'm just asking. So if I got any of you, don't call me black people in here, please just explain, how do you deal with those scriptures that got black in it? Or are the scriptures no good because it got that word in it and you don't want to hear it? So what's the deal? Okay, because let me tell you, them calling you that black, that's nothing original. They didn't come up with that on their own. They found that in the Bible that you're looking at. That's where they found it. Mhm. Yeah, but I just don't think we should be dividing over this, knowing this was also part of those curses. And I mean, look, Job said, My skin is black upon me." Was he wrong for saying that? Because of the famine. Was he wrong in describing his skin that way? Job was a very wealthy man, full of wisdom, but he said that. Yeah, I mean, I just like I said, I respect what you're doing, but I don't think you should be taking it to a level to the point where you're turning on people because you know what our circumstances are. And whether you call yourself Hebrew, black, you think the devil is going to treat you any differently? He doesn't have it in him to treat you differently. So that's fine. That's fine. You know, and yes, I say it. And many of the articles that I read, especially when it comes down to racism, it has the word black in it. So, yeah, so I may read that book, read that word. I remember we got a lot of people that are Hebrew and they don't care that they're Hebrew. We got many that they know they're fully, they go to church and they know we are those folks in the Bible, but they don't care. Okay? They don't care. So I don't know. I just choose not to be up in arms about something from this enemy. I personally don't care what their thoughts are on me or anybody in my group. But just know, even if I stop saying it right now, you're still going to see it in the media. You're still going to see it in publications. You're still going to see it all over social media. So, what are you going to do if you don't like that word, but you're seeing it everywhere? So, what are you going to do about that? So, even if I stop saying it, it's still going to be all around you. That word is still going to be everywhere. What are you going to do? How are you going to live out the rest of your life being this upset? You know? All right. So we'll talk a little more about this. But again, I want to go back to the scriptures. You folks that don't like the word black, how do you feel about the scriptures in the Bible that refer to our skin as black? There are scriptures that do. So I just need to hear about that from you naysayers of the word black. I know it's a byword. And you know what? I look at it this way. If they're using that word on me, then they know who the hell I am. Okay? So that being said, they know who we are. That's why they keep changing what they call us. Colored, Negroes, black, African American. Okay. And you notice when we look all around us, nobody else is changing what they call themselves. It's just us. It's very obvious that they know who we are. They know. Trust me, they've always known. Okay. So I don't know. I just choose not to get that blown out of proportion over it because we were warned this was going to happen. And that is also by hearing that word and seeing it everywhere, it's another prophetic thing in the Bible that has turned out to be true. You know, I just don't want everybody to be to upset to this level. We don't run the world, not right now. So these folks are going to do whatever the hell they want. So let me just show you the survey results. Some of you probably already seen it, but I'm going to show it anyway. We're just going to go over it. Okay. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. All right. Let's take a look at the results. So I put this up the other day, and I chose I did this on purpose not to put Hebrew in, because I want that to be on a separate survey that we're going to do. Probably I'm going to wait probably about a week, and then I will put two choices, Black or Hebrew. So let's talk about it. So now you can see a lot of people are, tend to lean towards the word melanated. So as you can see, magnificent melanated people, MMP, 50%. All right. And kings and queens in training, that only got 6%. Um, Foundational 12, which, represents the 12 tribes, 12%. Look at how that came out. That is really biblical. Foundational 12 got 12%. That's very interesting right there. Future leaders of the globe, 11%. And I don't know, Lisa, leave me alone. You just don't want to be bothered with worrying about this. And a lot of our people are like that. They don't want to even be bothered with this issue. All right. So I'm going to show you the second part of the same survey. And Just Call Me Black actually came out the highest, 77%. And who cares? People don't even want to deal with this whole thing altogether. Who cares what we're called? These folks have been calling us out of our names since we've been in the land. But we know that the reason why we are labeled as we are is for the fact it elevates them and puts us down. It's all for the purpose of trying to make themselves seem like they are more than. We know they're not. And deep down inside, they know it too. They're not going to admit it to us, but ladies and gentlemen, live your life, protect yourself, survive each and every day. Words of what they call us, those bywords, we were told this was going to happen. That's why I don't understand why you're so upset. If your preference is to be called an Israelite, then you do that. You do that. All right. If you are okay with black, be okay with black, because we're told we were going to be called these things. And if to you these issues are not important, we got to focus on our survival and making it through these last few years, then do that with conviction. That's all I'm saying. But I just think that some people get hung up on something to the point where when you start trying to argue with people, and the reason why I brought this up, because some of y'all are going to other people's channels and complaining that I'm doing this, when you could have came to me and we could have done a survey to see what people prefer. Cameron Charles, thank you for the super chat. Black and white are social constructs. Exactly. Made up by Esau. Yeah, exactly. In 1680, yeah, because even in the beginning of chattel slavery, they weren't even calling themselves white. That didn't come until later. So when it comes to the scripture, black translate as Kedar in the original Hebrew, and Greek, which means dark skin. Thank you for that comment and your donation, Cameron. But, no matter what you are called, they can never, ever take away the fact that you are chosen. They can't take that away from you. There is nothing they can come up with that's going to take that away. So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I understand where you're coming from. I really do. But I think at the same time, you have to know we're not done with this captivity. Once we are done with this captivity, you're not going to hear these bywords again. You're never going to hear it again. You're never gonna hear it again. I mean, look, and then some people are saying, "Well, this, black is dead, and this is why you shouldn't wanna be called that." But we have been called in living through bad times since the beginning of this captivity. And even if we switch up and call ourselves something else, we're not gonna be treated any better in this society at all. You're still gonna be referred to as Black on applications when you go to your doctor's office, when you go to the hospital. They're not gonna have Hebrew on that whatever form you're filling out. They're not gonna have it on there. Okay, Isaiah, thank you so much for the super chat. God himself is Black. Revelation 4:3 and Daniel 7:9. Thank you for that. That's true. That's true. We are not a people that's narrowed down to names. We are way more than that. We are. You know, that's why I went over the gardening because we got bigger fish to fry. We really do. And all these things that we're getting hung up on, we really need to get rid of and come together and help each other survive in these last days. Willie Combs, thank you so much for the super sticker. That's what I'm concerned about, us making it in these last days. I'd rather for you to survive than you to be hung up on things that just keeps us divided. When we start squabbling about, "Oh, well, I'm a Hebrew. Oh, well, I'm Black," that's just more division. Do we really need that? I don't think we should. But, I'm one of those, I'm open to you calling whatever you feel comfortable with and how you refer to yourself, but don't get to the point where you are just getting all angry over, because I've had a few people do that too. I had a man that was subscribed to me a few years back. He hated us being called copper, saying our skin is copper color. He was having such a fit that when, some of my subscribers would write in the comment section, we're copper. This man would have a complete meltdown and go off on my subscribers for saying the word copper. You know, that's where I have a problem with when you start just exploding over this. You know damn well we're not in any position to control these things right now. You already know this. But yeah, I had somebody he got so bad, y'all, I had to block him. He was using profanity and everything and going off on any of my subscribers that referred to copper skin. It shouldn't be that deep. It shouldn't be that deep. You know what? It was so far back, Hood Mistress. It must have been when I would say like 2016. I can't even remember his name, but I remember him attacking people in my comment section for talking about us having copper skin. And I was like, okay, it's okay if you don't agree with it, but it's not okay for you to start having explosions about it. That's not okay. Yes, we are. We are various shades of copper, dark brown, and we go all the way up to the lightest hues. And to me, the variety in our skin color, that makes us even more beautiful. That's my opinion. You know, you could have we are so diverse within our own group. You can have two parents that really aren't light, but they'll have a light-skinned baby. Okay? Or sometimes the child will be darker than both parents. I mean, that's the way it is with us. Mhm. But like I said, when we're out of this, you're not gonna have to deal with bywords. We're still not quite out of it, but, when these things come up, let's just talk about it. I mean, you I don't run to nobody's channel. How would I look running to another channel? You know that Mr. Lawrence 7777? Mm, you should see what he be writing in my I would never do that to any of you. It just blows me away how many of you have ran to other channels and you've done that to me. Mhm. Isaiah, thank you so much for the super chat. They get mad when you say Jesus is black, knowing good and well the scriptures say so. Yes. We're going to get the name right. Well, as soon as we get in the kingdom, all these things, some people say Yahweh, some people say Yahweh, you know? We have all these different things that we say, but does it mean that we don't love our heavenly Father? Of course we do. Of course we do. Some people say Ahia, but I don't think you're going to be penalized if you say Yahweh, or if you say Yahweh, or if you say, you know, um, Yahweh Shai, Yehoshua. I mean, we all say it in many different ways, but our Heavenly Father is going to straighten all of this stuff out. It's not going to be any confusion. And see, confusion is the means of what our enemies have used to keep us divided. But we don't really need to do that within our own group. But of course, you're going to disagree. Nobody's going to see eye to eye with everybody all the time. Opinions really depend on your upbringing is all formed based on how you've lived your life. So it's not going to always be, where we will always agree. I mean, I understand that, but don't get to the point where you just blowing up over it. So if you have any thoughts about it, you can put it in the comment section. I never have the expectation of everybody agreeing with me. Of course you're not. Thank you, Brother Nirya Yezarel, for the super chat. Blessings, Sister Lisa and family. Hallelujah. Special blessings to you too, brother. Well, yeah, see, they want to keep us confused because how do you divide a group better? And we have not, and this is the truth, we have not been taught to lean on and depend on each other. We have never, we were taught from the jump, we have to be careful, that's why our men have to have the talk, where men of other groups, they don't have to have the talk, you know. Man Scott, thank you, sister. All praises to the Most High. Thank you very much for the super chat. Just get a 1611 Bible. There are scriptures in there that use the word black. In fact, if you got a computer, you can Google those scriptures and they'll come up. It's there. Okay, it's there. Or if you have an older Bible, yes, the newer ones, yeah, they have taken it out. It's just their attempt to keep us from reaching our Father. So you can't worry about that. You're right. CLE 15, swarthy. That's another term that was used to describe our people. Hmm. Yeah, you have that Bible. I got a bunch of Bibles at my house and the Apocrypha. I even got my father's Bible that he used to take to church, and he got it all marked up on certain scriptures that he loved. I still got that Bible. Pages are falling out. You can tell he really used the hell out of that Bible. Some of the pages are coming out and everything. Mhm. Yes, Duncan, Nisha C, that's correct. Hebrew princess from birth. Thank you for the super sticker. I'm just saying, y'all, let's not divide over one more thing. Come on. I mean, we're going to have to let go of a lot of things that we're feeling because, look, we're going to continue to be labeled in this society, but their world is falling. Our world is growing. We're headed up to the top. So let's not have all these issues as we're trying to live through and survive these last days. Let's be real. When you get stopped by the cop and they see that melanated skin on you, they don't care what you refer to yourself as. They're going to refer to you as black, especially if you get arrested. That's what they're going to list you as. Hey, look at what happened to Tiger Woods. He ran around here calling himself a Kablasian. But when he finally got pulled over and arrested, what did they have him classified as? They checked off black. That's what those white officers did. They checked off black. Mhm. All right. I mean, like I said, let's talk about it. If you want to have a part 2 of this, we'll do a part 2. Mhm. Black isn't the worst thing. The Dr. Carpy, let me just read what you said. It's kind of going by fast for me. You said black isn't the worst thing. The prominent use of that byword is just more evidence of who we are. Yes, I agree with that. That's how I see it. I believe when you're looking at that word, they have to know who we are in order to use that word on you in the first place. Thank you for your comment. Hmm. I'm not mad at people that don't want to be referred, they don't want that label on them. I'm not mad at you because they've made that label very negative. Black male. Okay. You know, they've made it negative. Just even in food, devil food. That's your deep dark cake. Angel food is the white cake. They've done this to us for a whole lifetime. Yeah, Black Wall Street. Mhm. That's right. Black male, black magic, you know. So we know it has a negative connotation to that word. It does. I would rather be called black versus African American. Yeah, a lot of people would agree with that. Um, Queen Mammy. I'm sorry, not Mammy, Mommy. Queen Mommy. Sorry about that. Um, Look, I want to do things in these last days. Like, I just want to let's have discussion beyond gardening. Let's have discussions on maybe making things, making your own clothes. Let's talk about some people, and I was looking online and there are people that are making their own wipes instead of going out to the store and buying wipes, they are just making their own. And I was just astonished with, the things some people are using, like alcohol in it, and they're using, like, essential oil to give their homemade, wipes a fragrance. But, wow, I'm just blown away with how our people have just dove right in with all their talent and everything and just making their own stuff. I mean, this is not a bad thing because of the times we're in and all of the shortages that are going on. So I'm just blown away with how many of you got such good ideas and you can just make your own things opposed to running out and worrying about a shortage because this is getting worse. And they're trying to tell you, just like that story I did on the farmers where they're telling them they're not going to be providing water to them because of the drought. Do you really think that's going to just be California? No, that stuff is going to spread to other parts of the country. We have, some people have wells. You may have to gain access to your well. If you don't have a well, then when the shortage is real bad, you may have to buy a filter and put that filter onto your sink. So you're going to have to think of alternative ways to get your water. You know what? Hashtag true Hebrew, hashtag. I'm not surprised that Putin is doing that. I'm not. Um, Look, at the end of the day, y'all, this is nothing but white people fighting other white people. That's all it is. Black Cobra Ninja 5, thank you for the super sticker. I get sick of these folks getting into wars and have this expectation that we should all dive in there and help. We have not started a single war in 500 years, but we fight in all of them. And that in itself is a problem. Cherokee Descendant Dell, thank you for the super sticker. Do you know, I'm so glad you put that super sticker there. Do you know that there are people in this country that get offended if we talk about natives that we had in our family? They think you don't even have the right to say that you had natives or aboriginal people in your family. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. See, that's where I have an objection. You treat a group of people badly. You've been bad. You just done all kinds of nasty, heinous, murderous things to us. But we're supposed to push that aside and just dive out there and start fighting and fighting another country that have showed their racism by not even taking the black Africans and Caribbeans that live over there. I found out a lot of the Nigerians that are over in the Ukraine, ladies and gentlemen, are there studying medicine. They're trying to become doctors. And of course, you got migrants over there too. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised that we're over there. We are worldwide. They just don't talk about it. Miss Abiel, any place where you see Esau, you're going to have neo Nazis there. I'm just telling you the truth. You're going to have them there. You think there aren't any in Russia? Of course there are. There's plenty of them over there too. And, as far as the outrage, look, we already seen Joe Biden do this with the Haitians. Wasn't he trying to get rid of them and fly them back home? We've seen this before. This is not the first time. I mean, remember the hurricane that hit the Bahamas and they came over here, and you saw how fast that governor down there in Florida and Trump jumped up, and they did not, these people lost everything. They've lost everything. And they were fighting and railing against them coming here. Did you see that kind of fight coming out of them when it came down to those people from Afghanistan? Did you see them putting up a fight? No, Joe Biden opened up the floodgates for them to come here. But the Haitians got to go. They got to go. We don't want them. And I want y'all to think about this. Over the last few days, Trump has been praising Vladimir Putin. All right, praising him, talking about how strong he is, right? Now, he said this after the Ukraine was invaded, not before, after he was already in there. Now, why is it? Yeah, we know why. Let me take that back. When Dr. Martin Luther King was alive, they were trying to push the propaganda of him being a communist. How many times have we heard them say, oh, Martin Luther King was a communist? They actually ran propaganda. Let me see if I can find it, and I'll share my screen. They actually ran propaganda, ladies and gentlemen, in America. Billboards, they had billboards up saying that Dr. Martin Luther King was a communist. Let me see if I can pull it up. But it's amazing. Nobody is making these accusations against Trump, and Trump is lapping the ass of a Russian president. Okay, let me see if I can find a billboard. I'm going to show it to you. But they were actually putting these billboards up. See if I can zoom in on this. Especially around the South. They were putting all these, let me see if I can capture. I'm going to capture it and then I will blow it up so you can see this. But they ran heavy propaganda in America calling Dr. Martin Luther King a communist. They had it in ads. They had it in all kinds of documentary they would distribute among themselves. They had it on a flyer, and they actually took out billboards. I think I should be able to get it. Let me see if I can pull. Let me see. Give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can pull it up and blow it up for you. But they even had a campaign with billboards that had on the billboard that Dr. Martin Luther King was a communist. That's how far they went with this whole thing. But it's okay for Donald Trump to be very public about admiring a man that comes out of communism. Okay, that's perfectly fine. That's okay. They're fine with that. But Dr. Martin Luther King being a communist, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's why I don't listen to these folks. Their double standards are off the chart. It really is. It's downright ridiculous. All right, y'all, take a look at this. Here we go. This is a billboard that they had up. Old billboard. And it says Martin Luther King at Communist Training School. And they took this and put it up on billboards. So this propaganda that they have put up about him being a communist is laughable. Okay. And let me just say this other thing about communism. I don't believe America is against communism, ladies and gentlemen. They're not. They can say they are all they want. If they were really, truly against communism, why did you let all these Chinese people come in here and put up a Chinatown in every major city around the US, but you don't like communists. Don't they come from communist China? Okay. America ain't concerned about no communists. It's a bunch of BS. You would never have allowed that if you were against communism, but you let that happen. So now you don't get to come to us and point at Dr. Martin Luther King being a communist. And now you got Donald Trump lapping on the very ass that came out of and still part of a country that practiced communism. So how come all of you communist people that hate communists, how come you're not going after Donald Trump? Where's the billboards for Donald Trump? See, the hypocrisy is just off the charts. It really is. These folks don't care about communists being here and even working here and setting up shops. I mean, America is such a whore. If I said this before, if Hashatan himself said, I want to create a devil town in every single county across America, they would let him do it. As long as his green is right, they would let him do it. They would. And then at the same time, talking to you about the devil. Oh, that's devil. That's evil. So if communism is evil, you sure don't say it to these Chinese people that are all over your country. How come you're not telling them communism is evil, but you want to get in black people's faces talking about MLK was a communist? You can miss me with the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I'm just saying, they're really talking out of both sides of their mouth. So the way I see it, America is fine with communism, always been fine with communism. And now you got a former president that is, and said it on more than one occasion. You can pull up the articles. He's always praising Putin. Oh, he's just trying to get more land. And yeah, because that's the way you got land here in this country. You use the sword. And that's what he's doing, but he's doing it to people that look just like him. Hmm. That's why I don't listen to that kind of stuff, especially from them. Putin is doing what we have seen them do historically: go on to the land, be violent, kill everybody in sight, and then steal the land. What part of the history did you not do this? And he's doing what they have been doing historically all this time. Yeah, and I did watch Phil's video on all the money that Biden is sending over. They want to send to the Ukraine for aid. And don't be surprised, before we get to the end of the year, those Ukrainians will be in this country and living better than us who've been here our whole life. Trust me, they gonna fly them in here and just load them down with money. They did it with these folks from Afghanistan. See, as long as the immigrants look like them, they got all the money in the world. But as soon as you say the word reparations, they're broke. Well, we don't have the money. Apparently you do. You had the money for everybody else, LGBTQ, you got money for the Asians, and you got money for every damn body. You have money for the natives, the $5 Indians, even they got money. But as soon as you say the word reparations, all of a sudden they can't find any money. Okay, they can't find no money. Yeah, they're going to bring those people over here, give them thousands of dollars just for being in the land, And next thing you know, they gonna be in your black neighborhood setting up shop for you to buy from them. Mhm. And as far as the African and Caribbeans being there, why is it that y'all only want to escape to these predominantly white countries? Why do y'all always want your education from them when all they do is lie? Why are you there? So you couldn't be a doctor anywhere else? Shoot, even Cuba got a program for doctors. You could have went to Cuba. But I don't get it. Why just those countries and nowhere else on this planet that you could have became a doctor? I remember even when Castro was alive, he was even inviting Americans to come to Cuba and train to be a doctor. And he was going to do it at no charge. If you wanted to go there and be there, he had everything set up for you to go there and get that education free of charge, becoming a doctor. Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, I don't want to see any of our melanated family around the globe come to any harm. Gartrell McKinney, thank you so much for the super chat. Always happy to join you, Lisa, and the family for such a substantive conversation. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, there's other places. I don't know why our people think these countries are the best places for your education when it absolutely isn't. Yeah, Castro had opened the door for anybody that just wanted to become a doctor. You could go there and train. That's why I'm like, why Ukraine? Why Poland and Russia? Why, I mean, why are you choosing those places? Yeah, when Castro was alive, I don't know if they're doing it now, but when Castro was living, he opened the door even for black men and women to become doctors in Cuba if you wanted the education. And he was offering it for free. You didn't have to pay nothing. Christopher Clipper, I heard that about Cuba too. Cuba has the best doctors in the world. Yeah, they even got the Cuban doctors over there in Africa. They flew a bunch of them over there to help with medical care over there in Africa. Mhm. Yeah. And you know what? Remember Joe Biden didn't want the Haitians. Y'all remember what happened in the media when they were under that bridge in Texas? He was having a fit. He was having a complete fit. Mhm. So, they want immigrants, but they want certain immigrants. They don't want all immigrants. Mhm. Yeah. And back on the initial subject, anytime you have a problem with hearing something, just maybe the ultimate decision is for you to just move on. I just don't know how you're going to survive on social media and not see or hear the word black. You are. And yes, it was set up to degrade us, but you label yourself any way you want. I don't think it's going to make our lives any easier. You're still going to be living a tough ass life in America. And it's not because of that word, it's because they know who we are. And a lot of these things, even the cops, a lot of these things they are doing is out of pure jealousy. They can never, ever be us. Okay. They can rip us off and steal our ideas and inventions, but the one thing they can't do is be us. Mark Bruce Wayne Brown. Glad to see you're doing well, Queen. And thank you so much for the super chat. And I hope you're doing well as well. Well, yeah, he would be black. Albinos, just like in Africa, they got albinos, and those are still, they are still classified as black. You know, their melanin is just not there because they're albino, but they are still what you would classify as black. Isaiah Henderson, thank you for the super chat. Lisa, what is your take on the crack pipe thing, Biden? Yeah, well, he got a crackhead son. I mean, let's be real. His son is a crackhead. So I'm not surprised he's doing stuff like that. But I always go back and tell people, look at the irony in that. This man tried to destroy us by putting all kinds of laws in place, including the laws they were enforcing during the crack epidemic, which kicked off um, mass incarceration. And what happened to his son? He wrote those all them laws against us. What happened to his son? His son is a crackhead. You don't ever believe the Most High didn't do that on purpose. He did that on purpose. Okay, since he wanted to be all rough and heavy-handed with us, the Most High made his son a crack addict. And look at come on, that is a curse. For that to even happen to you like that after putting out that bill, that's a curse. That's a curse. And he's always been cursed. He lost his wife and daughter in a car crash. He lost his son, Bo, to brain cancer. That man's cursed. He's cursed. Mhm. Yeah, we did. Crack epidemic. I remember being out and about and seeing those crack addicts, and it just broke my heart to see our people in that kind of condition. But we know they sabotaged us because that's what they do good at, sabotaging our community by bringing the crack and the guns and all that stuff into the community because the crack was used because they were hoping they would be able to wipe us out, or at least a big amount of us would be wiped out from it. See, they can kill you without physically doing it with a gun. So then you take the crack and die, it's your fault, but actually it's their fault for planting it in the community in the first place. Yeah, it was terrible. I saw both the men and women, and a lot of our children, our beautiful children, ended up in foster care because both parents would be in jail. And, you know, many grandparents had to step up to the plate. I went to church with some where their daughter went to jail for crack, and the grandmother ultimately became the parent to the children. A lot of our black parents did step up, and our grandparents, they stepped up in the 80s to do what they could to get those kids, um, so they would have some parental guidance. But look at the difference, y'all. During the crack epidemic, many grandparents stepped up. A lot of times it was just the grandmother. She had to take all of those children in and raise them. You notice it's not the same way during the opioid plague. A lot of their kids are in foster care and nobody's getting them out. A lot of their children are in the system, and family is not stepping up. It was not like that for the Black community during the era. It was somebody that would step up. If it wasn't the grandparents, a lot of times the aunt and the uncles would step up and take those children in. But if you look at opioids, these folks ain't doing that. Those kids end up in the system, they're gonna stay there until they're 18. They ain't trying to lift a finger from none of them. I guess they look at it, you're not gonna mess up my retirement. I worked hard to reach my retire. I ain't gonna be raising no kids when I'm retired. They're selfish like that. Hmm. Yeah, it's wiping them out. They said more are dying from opioids than anything else. And you notice they have, in a big way, kept that out of the news. That's how it is when it's not going so well and things look like crap for them, then we don't talk about it. But I remember the crack epidemic. They kept that mess in the news. They wouldn't stop talking about it. But when it's opioid addiction, oh, we need to be silent on that. Don't talk about that. Um, they need help. Oh, well, crack addicts needed help too, but you put them all through criminal court and you threw them in jail. And many of them are still sitting there today because of the three strikes you're out laws that they never used on white men that were criminals. So, Coach Roebuck, thank you so much for the super sticker. They never used it on them. Have you heard of any white man going to jail on three strikes you're out? They never did it to them. They specifically did that to black men. Because look at Edward Cagney Matthew. That dude was committing crimes when he was a teenager. So he would have been around for three strikes you're out. He's in his what? He got to be, I think he was like 49 or something like that. That means when three strikes you're out came out, he was still committing crimes. That man have a long ass rap sheet, but he did not get hit with three strikes you're out. And I've seen other stories like that as well. So you call opioids a public health issue. But when crack addiction was going on, that was a crime. Throw them all in jail. And see, that's why I question their sincerity. If it's now a public health issue, why aren't you getting these crack addicts out that's been in there for decades now? Because you really don't want that. You want that specifically for your own people and no one else. Oh, I might have being a bang because you know why? They don't all show up on the screen. I'll kid you not. There's times when I will play back my live stream and I'll see people and it didn't appear on my screen. I didn't see it. And I think that's done on purpose. And it happens virtually every single live stream. I won't see the super chat or the super sticker until I go back to the playback and then I'll see them. So I know what you're saying, but I don't see it on my end. That's the problem. Believe me, if I saw it, I wouldn't hesitate to thank you. But I'm being very sincere. There are some I see and others I don't see until I go back to the playback. And I know that's nobody but YouTube doing that. They're the only ones that would have the ability to do it. Mhm. Oh, yeah, they had, um, only thing that was available to a crack addict was criminal court. That's it. They short now what they do, they give them the option. Now, how laughable is that? They give you the option of either going to jail or getting rehab, and a lot of times the judge will order them to go to rehab, and that's how they avoid jail altogether. But you notice they're not offering that court, that same drug court to black men that get caught with weed, how come they don't get to go to a court and possibly get rehab? I mean, I'm just saying that as a scenario. I know you don't get addicted to marijuana like you do opioids. I know there are differences. I'm just using that as a scenario. You got opioid addicts that can agree to rehab and avoid jail, but black men with weed got to go to jail. Nothing is, no alternatives are offered to them. So that's why I say I questioned their honesty on that public health stuff. Mhm. So if I did miss you, please forgive me, and I deeply thank you for whatever super chat or super stickers you give. I thank you, but I literally cannot see them on my side. That's why some always get missed. Jet Black, you said, um, I don't get notifications for you on my Jet Black channel, but paid my premium channels uh, gets also almost all the notifications. Yeah, yeah, I believe it. I get so many people telling me they didn't get the notification when I go live. I get so many people, sometimes people will tell me, when I'm on here that it's buffering for them. It's not buffering on my end, you know? So this would have to be YouTube doing these things. Mhm. No, I mean, they had a lot of disdain, Miss Ebiel, for crack addicts. I remember sitting around these people and even in school, just being around them, and they would even come right out of their face, say, "Oh, they all need to go to jail. They all need to go to jail." But now their folks are laying it all over the streets. Nobody should go to jail. I mean, come on. You can't get more obvious than that. Okay. Well, Onika, I don't do birthdays because I'm Hebrew, but I wish a special blessing to you. May he bless you. Yeah, yeah, and they are a danger to society too. I've done several videos of them robbing pharmacies for opioids, robbing banks, and so they steal in order to get their drug. So they aren't just addicts, they'll go that extra mile and you know rob places and even harm people because of their addiction. Mhm. Yeah. So, I just wanted to leave the door open to have this discussion. Um, But you can all tell me what you think in the comment section. I know we all want to be called what we really truly are, and, by the world. We should be referred to as the correct thing. But unfortunately, as long as we're in the Gentile world, they're going to still, refer to you as African American, people of color, and Black. But think of it this way, that's evidence that they know who you are by using all those bywords. They know who you are. Well, yeah, I believe it was Queen Amadiah's channel where I saw a canine, a German Shepherd canine, rip off a woman's scalp. But isn't it amazing how they'll use a dog for a shoplifting, but they won't use the police canine unit on a mass murderer? They could be in that store and killed 10, 15 people. They don't come running up in those places with no police dog to take down the suspect. But over some petty shit like shoplifting, that you had to get a canine. You had to get the canine. You know, they act like they don't want to harm a mass shooter. They sure handle them with care, but I don't see them even sicking dogs on them. No, they do train those dogs to attack black men and women. They do. They train them to be that way. You know, so they want to use their KKK9 dogs on us for petty stuff, petty crimes. But big major crimes, there's no dog in sight when there's a mass shooting. Not a dog in sight. Okay. you you have I have yet to see them with a dog for a mass shooter. Yeah. The dogs that are around, y'all talking about dogs of the conquest. Yeah. Um, the dogs that they use today are nothing like the dogs back then. They were really different. I think a lot of these dogs that are bred and crossbred and all that, that they're nothing like those dogs back during the time when the Spaniards came onto the land. They're not like that at all. Well, yeah, I mean, things are falling apart. You're right. Bina Bang, the drought that's hitting the farmers over there on the West Coast, the US government said they are not giving them any water for their crops. So they're going to either have to have the water delivered, and that can become expensive when you got a very large farm. So we shall see. This 2022 is not disappointing. This has turned out to be wow, a crazy year. I think this year is going to top 2021 and 2020. Yeah. Yeah, they do that. It's a history of using dogs on us. Even back when they were plantation patrol, they had dogs even then. That's why so many black people, if you notice, black people will not buy a bloodhound. If you notice, you'll see a black man and woman with all kinds of different breeds of dogs, but you don't see a bunch of us walking around with bloodhounds, and that's because they used those bloodhounds against us. So that is a breed that I have to tell you, in my lifetime, I have never seen one pet owner that had a bloodhound in our community. I have never seen it even once. Yeah, you're right, Dimple Face. They do kill us and they put them on paid leave. And like you said, that's nothing but a vacation. I agree. They've always used those animals, those dogs against us. Yeah. I mean, that history goes way back. Wasn't it Jezebel? Wasn't she eaten by dogs? I mean, so I mean, dogs have always been that tool, but Jezebel, she deserved it. She was wicked. But I'm just saying, they've always weaponized the dog. Yeah, Joe Curry, when I used to go down to visit my grandmother, hardly none of the elderly people in Georgia in that area that she lived in, hardly none of them had dogs. They just don't. And I remember talking about it and my it was my grandmother that told me a lot of black folk don't care for dogs because they use the dogs against us. So when you see elderly black men and women, they're less likely to have a dog than a white elderly couple. You'll see them with dogs, but you won't see a lot of elderly black folks with dogs. Our people, they've had those animals weaponized on them, or they've seen other people be attacked by those dogs. And so, so they don't want dogs. They don't want it. Yeah, pets are not for everybody. MC to the X project. Pets are not ever for everybody. It really isn't. If you have a room and you got a yard or you have an apartment that allows them, then that's one thing. But if you're not into it, then you're just not. I don't hold that against anybody. You if you don't want, you just want your house pet free, you have the right to do so. I never, you can ask me what it's like to have a cat. I can tell you that, but it doesn't mean that I have the right to try to push for you to get a cat. I don't do that with anybody. Pets are a big responsibility. You literally got to get up every day and care for them. So if you don't want your time spent caring for pets, then it's best for you not to have them. Oh yeah, they walked him out like they were just arresting him for stealing a candy bar. I remember that, Miss Ebiel. She said that guy that killed people in the market in Colorado was walked out of the store. I haven't heard anything about him. Well, I think the last story I did on him, they were trying to do a psychological evaluation on him. Everybody got mental illness after they commit a crime. You know how it goes down in America. Yeah. You know what it is? You know why you hear Loretta sometimes? Because when I'm recording my video, sometimes she's not even in the room when I begin the video. And she'll just walk in and I'm already in the middle of talking. So, I mean, look, you're just hearing life happen around me, but it's not always that way. Sometimes I'm sitting in a different location, I'm making videos, and she just happens to show up. So that's why you hear her a lot of times in my video, um, her meowing and everything. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But overall, dogs are some of them are really sweet and some are just they're just evil, and it really depends on who they're around, who it really does. When I was growing up, my uncle, the one that I talked to all the time, he had a pit bull. And we used to go over there and play with him all the time. He was so much fun and everything. But see, he didn't train the dog to be fighting and carrying on and not trusting people. He didn't raise him like that. He would be in the yard playing with us. And he wasn't mean at all. It really depends on who owns those dogs. It really does. It makes a hell of a difference. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, the dogs were big and they were more massive than the ones that you see now. You're talking about dogs with even some dogs that people own, you can see muscles bulging all over their bodies. They're that strong. Mhm. Pyrenees, Coach Robot. You said you had a 110-pound Pyrenees. Love that dog. Yeah, some breeds are really great. Now, I had an all-white American Eskimo dog. And, those dogs were used for hunting. He was a hunting dog. And you know what? No matter how much you train a dog, you can still see that predator in them. I don't care what nobody say. I used to see it in my dog. I had him for 19 years, and there were some occasions I would see that predator coming out of him. I don't think you can train that out of a dog. It is really there. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, they're good animals if they're fully trained. They would actually be an asset to you. Protecting the family and they're well behaved, then they really can be an asset to your family. So, on that note, y'all, thank you so much for coming. I'm glad we got to discuss this. I really do. you know, and I hope if we got to discuss it again, we will. So it probably I'm going to wait about a week and I'm going to put another one up and I'm going to include Hebrew Israelite and black and see which one people will, lean towards. It's always interesting to see those kind of things. Mhm. Yeah. You know what MC2 the X project. You know what? Um I had friends like that. Their parents wouldn't let them have a dog, but they could have other animals. And I had a friend that owned a tarantula. Hers was actually pretty. Now, I wasn't into tarantulas or anything like that. She had a big one of those big aquariums in her room, and you could see her, um, her spider. Hers was actually really cute. It was a black and white one. And she would it was as big as her, whole hand. The thing if when she picked it up, it literally covered her whole hand. It was that big. It was a tarantula. And, even seeing hers and I still never wanted one. But back in the day, when you would walk in a department store, some of the department stores would be selling those tarantulas. But like I said, hers was actually kinda cute. It was a black and white one, and I don't know how long they live or anything, but that's what she had. I couldn't feel that either, and I definitely can't feel no snake or lizards, and I know some people own those kinda animals. Not me. I don't want that kinda animal. I never desired any of those kinda animals. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. They live 15 to 20 years, Christopher Clipper. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's a big ass spider. But like I said, back in the day when I was small, they used to sell those right out of the store. So you could go and buy a tarantula. Mhm. Yeah, we got those brown recluses here in New Jersey. They're all over, but we have a lot of them here too. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, back to the gardening, you don't want to run off all insects from your garden. Some of those insects are really good. Um, one year I had a praying mantis, and that sucker was going all down in my garden and grabbing all kinds of insects. And he hung around, I think, for like a good 2, 3 months. Don't bother them. If you see one around you, because what they're doing is keeping the insects under control. They're going in there and eating them. So they're actually helping you with your garden. So don't mess with them. Just let them be. A spider, I had a couple of spiders hanging around my garden, and they eat the other insects. The only thing I didn't like, sometimes they get so comfortable they start building their web on your garden, and you got to get rid of them then. But they're good to have around because they will keep a lot of the flies and other insects that come into your garden. They'll eat them. So you don't want to get rid of all insects. Some of them really are good, especially the pollinators. Butterflies do pollinate, bees pollinate. So you got some insects that do pollination. Don't mess with them. Let them stay right where they are because they're helping you actually. Hmm. Now, if you see bugs that are eating your plants, yes, you want to get rid of those. But the predator ones that feed on other bugs, leave them alone. Let them stay in your garden. Yeah, ladybugs too. Coach Rugbach. Yeah, ladybug, definitely later. Ladybugs. Hmm. Well, it is some getting used to. I remember when I used to watch my father garden when he was alive, I used to have to leave because the bugs got on my nerve. But see, when you start growing your own garden, you really got to overcome the bug situation in order to have, a good yield. You're going to have to kill some of them yourself. But I hear what you're saying. If you're if you're not used to nature like that, it can freak you out. It really can. Yeah. So everybody, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to conclude. I thank you all, and I have Monday at 2 o'clock. We're going to go over protecting ourselves against cyber attacks. So I hope I will see you all there, and if you're not there, you can always watch it on the playback. So may the Most High walk beside you in your daily life, and may all of your days be blessed every single day. And on that note, shalom, family.